When I lecture to disadvantaged students, I try to inspire them to believe in their potential and to have dreams and to never allow circumstances, poverty, oppression to deny them those dreams.
Please welcome Mr. Mark Mathabane.
When I lecture to privileged students, I try to make them aware of the responsibility that attends privilege and to make them realize that they can have a purpose in life beyond material things, and also that that privilege gives them a responsibility to make a difference in our world as leaders. For a lot of students who hear me speak, their response centers around, you've taught me not to take things like freedom and education and opportunity for granted. You've made me realize that I can make a difference as one person. And also you've given me an insight into the world in which I live. And that has made me less self-centered and selfish. I grew up in a 1 square mile ghetto north of Johannesburg, South Africa. It had no paved roads or electricity or running water. And most of the homes in which people lived were shacks made of plastic and cardboard and crumbling bricks. I try to go there at least once a year, and I went back last year with my family. And the reason is not only to see the extended family, but also to reconnect with the places and people that meant a lot to me when I was growing up. My schools, my neighborhood, and also to try to help as best I can empower the next generation of South African leaders through education. Much has changed in South Africa following the abolition of apartheid. For instance, blacks can vote, they have more opportunities and more freedom to move about, but a lot has remained the same, particularly in places like Alexandra, which is one of the most overcrowded places on the planet now, with close to about 800,000 people in 5 square miles. But the most painful thing to witness is also the poverty and the devastation wreaked by AIDS, and also to see just what can be done if only young people are again inspired, as I was, to believe in themselves, to always have hope, and to use education as a weapon to a better future for themselves, their families, their community, and their country, and of course the world. Living in apartheid, I was born in 1960, was like living in hell, because every day you had to battle for survival. You constantly went hungry. You didn't have shoes or decent clothes to wear. There were times when you didn't celebrate Christmas. You scavenged for food at garbage dumps. You saw your friends prostitute themselves for food, or some of them get killed in gangs. And so it made it very tough. And had it not been for my mother's love, I don't think I would have made it. My mom just had this remarkable ability to love people unconditionally. She did my dad, who drank a lot, was abusive and gambled, and was bitter because of what happened to him under apartheid. But my mom always loved him and would urge me not to hate him. And she also told us time and time again that I cannot buy you toys or clothes or shoes, but you should always know that I love you and I will sacrifice even my life for you. And in many ways she sacrificed a great deal to make sure that I survived and that I was able to go to school and that I was able to make some of the tough choices that were important to make in a ghetto in order to live. My grandmother, her name is Ellen, was just a darling because she was, one of the most beautiful women I'd ever seen, very tall, statuesque, like an African queen, and she always wore traditional clothing. And she worked as a gardener and was able to take me with her to work one time when I was 11 years old, and that changed my destiny because the family that she introduced me to were the one that gave me my first book in English, Treasure Island, which enabled me to start dreaming of a different life and to have a way to escape from the suffering and the pain of daily life. And also from this family that she worked for, I got a tennis racket, which after I taught myself tennis, I was able to use that skill to escape from apartheid in 1978 on a tennis scholarship that brought me to America. I went to the White House in 1993 for the first time after President Clinton read Kaffir Boy, my memoir, and was so deeply moved by it that he wanted to thank me for writing it because he said that it was one of the things that influenced his decision to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Nelson Mandela and de Klerk for their work in ending apartheid and avoiding civil war. So that was quite an honor to know that a story about my life, my family, and my hometown of Alexandra could have touched his heart and made him realize that what we were fighting for were the rights and freedoms that Americans couldn't imagine life without. My dream as a kid, and my mom's insistence was that I become a teacher, but because she wanted me to be a teacher, I wanted to be everything else but a teacher. But when I was invested with that title by being awarded an honorary doctorate from Wittenberg University, I realized that it was a dream come true for my mother because I'd always looked at her as the best teacher I ever had and deserving of the title of doctor because she had such wisdom gained from probably the toughest school you can attend, life. And her degree was probably more important than any that I had acquired because it was hard to survive with your spirit intact. And so when I was called doctor, it was like an affirmation of everything that my mother had believed. Because I think that the way I interpret doctor, it means you're someone who helps humanity in your own way. Try to find meaning and value beyond what affects the body. I feel that I'm a doctor of the spirit